still have to use the
exactly
signature.
And I remember because I used to work on these things back then too. He probably used a little bit. He may have probably used gouache.
That's what I was just
and colored pencil. And colored pencil based on the sheen.
It's definitely pencil, right? Some of it?
Some of it.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, and it looks like he may have on the back, he might have sprayed something like a fixative on it.
I mean, we can ask Dan for sure.
Yeah, he would know for sure.
But Dan was an art teacher, so I think he must have used the more.
No, art teachers well, especially
It's just
Doesn't matter.
when you're working fast
and when there's no funding,
and back in those days we didn't think the game would go any further than local, so we just whipped things out as fast as we could. And which is why we would paste things on top of things and use I used a ton of color pencil and micron pen. And
you guys don't mind if I record this, dude, because I want to remember what happened.
Oh sure.
Oh, by the way, can you introduce yourself, Amber, real quick?
Yeah, my name is Amber Anderson, and I'm with the Ray Art Conservation.
So, guys, if you want Amber, if you want art conservation, she's a chemist and an artist, and she can preserve art of any kind, really, right? You've done almost anything.
Yeah, today I was working with glass.
So I'll give you some advertising here. And just Julie from Mainframe, which is a Crab Jab studio, which is now Mainframe.
yes.
So guys, you guys remember this. This is all the art stuff, imaginative realism she used to sell, but now it's a framing center. And they're looking at
This
this.
is also the original, these are the original tape backings that he used as well,
So at least there's that.
yeah, so this was his original.
So what they're doing is they're basically trying to determine, Amber is a professional to see if these two original Alpha Arts, the Time Walk and the Mock Sapphire, if they were, if there's any kind of restoration, or preventative, that needs to happen. So what happens is, like, if things are too acidic, they essentially have to do the pH balance test and then kind of make sure that things are more settled and pH balanced. But that's what's going on. So the Time Walk is interesting. It has yellowing on the tape.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something that
She used oils. I know that. She said.
Really?
You don't think it's oils?
It might be. I can't tell.
Well, I'm going to see her.
You would be able to
I'm going to see
tell.
Amy Weber in May, so I can ask.
She might have. You know what she was really into back then? I just happen to know this better. She was really into oil.
Bar.
Yeah, oil bars.
Pastel.
She might have been using those.
Amber, do you think that's artist tape, or what do you think that is?
No, that's just regular masking tape.
So you're 100% confident on that, based on your experience. Okay.
Yeah, based on the texture and the way that it's yellowing. That is a hinge. That's more archival than the masking tape.
That was when they framed, when they had it framed.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that tape, you would say, was definitely from the artist. Would you say? Or
Well,
you
I would say
because this
it's got some overpaint on it, so it was used as an edge.
Right, and then also you have the artist's, I think either that's I have to ask Amy, because that's the question, is did she, I talked to her, she claimed that it was definitely 100% archival tape, but we'll have to, well, so what do you think from what you see here? Is there any, is the word restoration or preventative that needs to happen? What do you think?
Well, it's really just a matter of weighing the pros and cons of reversing something. I don't know that this is going to degrade terribly because of the substrate that it's on, but I don't know if there's a gesso under there that will help as a barrier. So this one acts more as a painting on board, but maybe mounted. This one is definitely could be reversed much easier and is in more jeopardy because of the board, but the tape is better.
Okay, so you use some big words there, substrate, and okay, so the
substrate's just the
got it.
surface.
Okay.
It's on.
So okay, so let's talk about the sapphire. So you're saying that the tape is better, but what are you worried about here? Well, what's the biggest?
Backing.
The back. So if you flip that over, Julie,
And then if
you're
this
saying
is
that the illustration board is bad.
What this is? That with the paper.
Oh, right. The way he depending on how he affixes. So if he used rubber cement,
right,
that's bad.
Yes.
If he used the actual, so the question to Dan is, did you use, what's the word I should ask? Archival gesso, right, or some kind of affixative.
Archival gesso, a PVA barrier, something that's less, that doesn't contain rubber, acetate.
I'll remember any of this, so this is good that we're doing this.
So it really comes down to the ease of reversing it, which you can't tell until you get into something either.
And now what about the marble paper? I've always wondered that.
Exactly. So you've got an issue with there being a water-based media with the gouache, perhaps. The pencil would be fine. The marble paper, it should be oil-based on paper, but I don't want to use certain processes that would affect any of that. Okay. The solubility.
Would you have to run a couple of pH tests on this?
Yeah, and actually I could do that on the backs of the boards if you don't mind, but the markings would be permanent. I mean, they would come off but you know, if you would see it on the back.
Let's do the, I mean, I don't think anybody cares about the back.
Okay.
Right, Julie? No one cares.
No, I don't.
I mean, it's a little mark, right? Okay, so let's do that.
All right.
There you go, the pens. Okay, and as far as the time walks,
I can bring out a piece of paper or something, like a tissue,
for
just to flip it over.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, since that's probably been a work surface. Yeah.
So the time walk one, you're concerned about the tape, really? That's really
good.
Okay.
Well, the tape, actually, you know, this one doesn't concern me as much because if it is indeed oil paint, then it's more archival with this backing. And it might just be specifically on this backing and not able to be demounted. But this tape is acidic.
So what will happen over time if it was left with that tape?
The tape, you would never be able to reverse it after a certain point. It will be gummy and sticky and residue, and it will continue to yellow. If there's any whites, they would particularly yellow around the area.
I see. So it's more, so the tape would not infect the painting. It's more about the surface where the paint's touching the tape. So, okay, I see what you're saying. So it's not like it's it
doesn't need to be there other than the signatures on there.
Right. Okay. So it's not like a disease where it spreads throughout. Okay. Right, I don't understand. Okay.
There you go.
So whereas this guy,
this one is.
This one, if it's not using, like you said, archival gesso, whatever, PBA, then basically over time this could brittle, or what would happen?
It will, yeah. It will break down the paper bonds, cellulose bonds, and just degrade very rapidly. It's a chain reaction.
Really? And we're talking like how many years if we're someone watching this video?
I mean, I've seen stuff from newspapers from the 1800s that are still intact, but very, very brittle and going to fall apart. So.
This guy right here needs something for some kind of
I would.
Whereas the oil paint, it's structurally more sound. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Interesting.
I don't think that the oil painting. You'd have to remove the tape on an edge to see if it was mounted or if it's just on this board. But I think it's just on this board.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Thanks for clarifying that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure she probably painted on directly on the board. And I mean, she and I went through school together. I'm pretty sure she probably used a specific gesso or something prior to painting, especially if she was oil painting.
Of course, you kind of have to. You don't want to ruin and waste all your paint. Exactly. Putting on tons.
Julie, how do we turn this down a little bit? Thanks. Just so I can. Okay.
And this one also, we noticed there is a hinge tape.
Yeah, that was from the original.
Oh, maybe that's just to fit it in the frame, actually. I'm seeing it on the edge. So that does not wrap underneath of the tape.
So originally these two were framed. This was done in that old school metal frame, remember back in the day?
Right.
This guy was more in a larger frame with, I think, 2 artist proofs, like 2 cards. But I think this was professionally mounted. And Okay, so go ahead and do your test. And this is a pH pen. pH stands for, what's that stand for?
I don't think
so. Oh, it stands for anything?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, actually, it's pro-hydrogen. So you're testing acidity based on hydrogens or OH for hydroxides for base.
And what you're looking for here is what?
So what you're looking for is a pH above 7 will be basic or non-acidic or just neutral and should fluoresce to be purple. And if it turns yellow, more to the yellow spectrum, it'll be acidic.
More acidic, yeah.
God, this is really interesting.
But this is a darker board, so I don't even know how it's going to turn out to be. I don't know if you can read that very well.
Oh, you've already done it?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you do it?
It's right there.
Oh, that little thing.
Looks purple to me. I mean, it's fading.
And it's pretty
a little.
quick, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already on there and.
So purple is over 7, which is more what you want.
Yes.
And yellow is acidic.
Yes.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Let's do that right here.
We'll move the tissue.
This is archival tissue?
Yes, it is archival.
Okay. There you go.
Is that because of the blue of the...
No, that's just because of the acids. I could test this too, but it, like I said, it won't come off, and I could spray deacidify it and neutralize that. But you don't want to leave.
So can you hold that time walk? I just want to see if I can do both. No, flip it over. I want to see the marks on both. Okay, so this, okay, so it's not because of the board, guys. It's not because of the board, but right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not yellow at all. So just because the board's dark, it would actually come up yellow if it were, okay, got it. Okay. And this one, it's not just because of the board, but it's clearly more yellow.
Yeah,
right.
it's coming out right there. It's coming out yellow.
So this board was not
Yeah.
pH balanced.
And yeah.
So what do you think? This is a doctor.
Well, I would say that it should probably be demounted off this board if possible.
Interesting.
To preserve it, obviously. If you don't want to go through that trouble, it's always possible to buffer the board by spray deacidifying it.
Now, talk about history, and because this is obviously a big time. This piece here is like magic history right here. What happens if you demount it, and does it affect anything by taking off the original state? Does that affect?
I think he's worried about, or he's asking about in terms of the
Devaluing.
value. Yeah.
Right.
How does that work? I don't even know.
Well, if you have a piece of paper that's in a pile of fluff, that's probably worth nothing. So it's better to restore something
make it
in that
unfluff.
regard. But it will probably exist in this capacity for a long time if you don't intervene. But you know, over 100 years, probably not so much.
I see. So what we're doing here is more for the test of time, right? Would this be something you could actually demount safely, you think?
I would have to remove the tape before I knew how it's sitting on that surface.
You want to do it now or no?
Well, the problem is
It would take hours of solvents and all kinds of things.
Is that he
I
signed?
know, which is why
No, that doesn't.
changing the aesthetic and
No, that doesn't matter. It wasn't framed. That was just there, just.
Yeah, and if he signed the back or whatever, I mean, you can always.
here's what I was going to
keep all this.
Yeah, I was going to recommend. I would remove the tape as need be, preserving that area, and you could always use it in the matting, in the framing, in a clever way, with the label on the back too.
Right.
Well, how about the image itself? That's what people would care about. Would that be?
Was this ever over matted?
Oh yeah.
It was.
Yeah. With
So then you wouldn't be changing the aesthetic of it.
yeah, it was over matted. You mean was there a mat originally when it was framed? Yes. Yeah. Remember the Emerald City Con? Yeah, that it was in Peter's collection.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Right. It was yellow mat or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the original, the card art was, the border was the same as this image. It's not like.
No, it's just the image of the piece, not the image of the white at all. Zero. Yeah.
Right. So just this part is the key
Exactly.
to it.
So you're not changing the look of it.
No.
Do you foresee transferring it? So talk about like what you. So let's say the step-by-step process. What would you do next, technically?
First, I would, as I said, remove the tape and preserve the signature there. Then I would do testing underneath of the board to see how that was mounted. Yeah, you would have to remove it off of the paper border there first too.
So let's say you do all the testing. So let's say you say, okay, I can transfer it into more archival form. What's the process there? What does that usually entail?
Well, I think that would be the framing of it would be the next step.
Oh, so you wouldn't strip it off the board?
Yes.
Oh, so you're going to strip it off the board?
Yeah, I don't touch it. She does all of
No,
that.
no. But that's what, see the gap where I don't
So
understand?
then you just have a loose leaf piece of paper.
Ah,
And so
okay.
there would have to be another backing, but it wouldn't be taped down in this manner.
Right. You'd either have to do like an archival mount, like you would do for storage, or frame it.
So would you strip it and then give it to her to frame? Oh, I see. So then would you then pH balance it too?
I would after I
Stripped it.
demount
Got it. And what would that entail? So would that, like, how would that potentially affect it, or would it not affect it?
It would only buffer it so that it will have extra pH to absorb acids.
And will that be water based? So you know how this
So
affects?
this would not, I would do it on the back side, not on the front side. That way you're not affecting it. Just
Oh, interesting. But if oh, I see what you're
the
saying.
back side of the paper, it's thin enough. It goes through. But,
So, okay.
But you can't get through that oil layer anyhow.
So what you're basically saying is that what's really killing it is the fixative, and the board. Who knows what it really is? The front, the way it's painted and all that stuff. Even though, like, you know how like pens, we're not like Richard Thomas did a lot of pens, and there are stuff that faded, and they were not archival. They were, I forgot what they were called. So, but this kind of medium, do you think would fade at all?
Well, what would happen over time is this blue would become green because of the yellow
Green,
of the acids.
guys.
So
Green sapphire.
you've got a lot of white background, and that reflection would go away if it yellows over time.
Okay, so it would go more green. Would it go green fully?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Really?
Sure.
Wow.
And what? In terms of becoming from that point on, let's say after she does all of this, that's when you have to think about like UV protection. You know, that's when we're looking at things like
So it won't fade.
either keeping it out of the sun altogether.
Well, it's never going to be in the sun. It'll never be in the sun.
Exactly. But if you're going to frame it, to use a UV protected glazing, whether it's glass or acrylic, which I know that you tend to go for.
Well, it's in the Optium thing.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. And that further protects it from yellowing, because once you get the chemical element of stopping the yellowing from happening, then you have to deal with the UV element of yellowing or altering.
Pigments oxidize.
Yeah.
Do light bulbs in a basement affect it?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, that's why you have specialized
Does
lighting
it
museums.
does it yellow? Does it yellow it too?
I think it depends on the kind of light.
Right.
Really? I didn't. Okay, so that's interesting.
I know.
I didn't know that.
LED lights, certain LED lights are generally speaking safe for art.
Okay.
That's why a lot of times you'll go into, for example, a museum, and you'll notice in their photography section, if they have old tin types, they'll cover, and they actually have a new type of glazing that is black, and it's basically a glass. It's black until you it's activated computerized. So when you want to look at the photo, because they're so sensitive to light, you can I think you can press a button or something, and the black fades out so you can see it, and then once you're done looking at it, it fades to black again. Or a lot of places actually have those photos covered.
Wow.
So you look at it very short, and then you close it up again, because they're so sensitive to light, including
What are bad lights, by the way? What are bad lights to use?
Halogen is not particularly good. Fluorescence.
I just don't remember what I have. Okay, I'm gonna have to look now. Now you got me going. How do I know if it's halogen, or is that typically what it is? All light bulbs, other than
Not necessarily. There's a lot of LED lights now.
yeah, they've been putting out LED lights for regular consumption, I think, for about 10 years now.
So I should just basically change everything to LED to be safe, if I really care that much.
I would say it's a good idea.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. So, wow, this is very interesting. I'm gonna have to play this back. again. Do you don't mind if I share this to people? People are going to really love to understand because this is really interesting. So we're going to obviously have to give this the mock sapphire to Amber to work on to examine more.
You know, all those collectors are going to be out there going, "Oh my God!"
The green sapphire.
You know,
It's
right.
like no, it really is like kryptonite. It really is kryptonite.
It is. No, it is, and
That's
why I think I told you that I had a box. Because I left a whole box of lithographs, and they were low quality lithographs of Magic the Gathering clone.
Yeah.
And they've been sitting in a box for about 10 years, and I took them out, and just the box, the chemicals from the cardboard
right.
of the box
I remember those.
burned the edges.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen those.
And I had to throw them all out because they're burned. They're chemically altered.
Yeah.
All the white is just yellow now.
I know.
And that's like an extreme version, but yeah, that happens to a good chunk of, and we see stuff like this happening all the time. That's why we tell people when they come in here and they want to reframe something, we ask them politely, can we undo this just so we? And a lot of times when you take the mat off or the top mat off, you can really see how burned something is, like how much it's faded, darkened, yellowed. And people are like, "Oh my God!"
You'll really enjoy the buffalo woodblock print.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
It turned out amazing. Yay. But it had the acid burn on it.
Yeah. So, and sometimes you can get that out. Sometimes it's reversible, and sometimes, as you know, it's not reversible. You can do the best you can, but there's a certain point where it's like, all right, it's like anything.
Okay, so how about the time walk? What's the steps? Because I'm going to be meeting the artist in May. Any action here, Amber? What do you think?
I would say just the Scotch tape is not necessarily a good thing to have on the surface because of the acidity of it, but it would also be because of its materials. The oil paint isn't going to be completely affected by that.
And what do you recommend then at this point?
You could go either way with reversing that or leaving it.
You could actually leave it and it'd be fine in your eyes.
I would say maybe, yeah. But then again, if anyone ever wanted to take it off in the future, it would be worse to try and do.
I see.
The longer it sits there.
So longer it sits there, and this will probably be framed one day. So, I mean, it'll be covered anyway.
It might just disintegrate over time. It would lose its adhesive and become brittle, and the strips will just come off, and the yellow glue residue will be left behind.
I have seen.
Which would be the best possible.
Actually,
scenario.
yeah,
I have seen that.
I love that because
I do too. It's so
it's easy to crack off.
Yes.
Then and that's why
this is a goo mess.
Yeah, the only time it's a real it's a real problem is if it's binding with the fibers of the paper or substrate.
And then it's pulling it.
And then because it's in there. That's why we in the framing industry we have we're actually veering away from starch tapes, linen tapes, things like that, because the starch binders tend to bind in once they're activated with papers, with a lot of papers. So when you remove the tape, I just did it today. It will pull.
Terrible.
It's horrible,
but you can get the fibers off.
Yeah, if you're careful, you can get that tiny fine layer of fibers off. But now that's why now they're making like with the Clucel-G, the cellulose gel-based adhesives that sit on the top of the paper. So if you have to remove it, it peels off versus. But yeah, it'll probably. It'll probably, if it's really stuck in there, it'll be stuck in with the fibers. If it's not, it'll just harden and crack, which is a lot easier to get off.
Okay. So what I'll do is this. How's this as a plan? I'm going to meet with Amy Weber in May. We're already going to meet for a weekend to do some other business. I'll talk to her about it. And I just want to ask her about the tape. Like, were you positive? So and clear bags, by the way, these are all archival, but
yeah, these are.
But you can get our plastics like zip. Are those all archival?
There are certain like the Vivac bags are archival, and then
like Ziploc bags.
If you get the food grade bags, I was just told not Ziploc bags, but the food grade bags are, because they are meant for human consumption. They're considered the best quality, but I don't know if it's Vivac or another brand that makes it sell like a similar bag to this that's considered because I guess they use it in museums for packaging purposes.
Weird.
But yeah, these should be fine.
Oh, you know, clearbags.com is, yeah, if you got go there, they have archival. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Amber. Thanks, Julie. Julie's from Mainframe, mainframe.com, right?
Seattle Mainframe.
Seattle Mainframe. And Amber, what's your website?
ArrayArtConservation.com.
Array is A-R-R-A-Y. Art Conservation. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And then we're going to have some videos about, play mats. I know this is rubber. And this is going to be very, very interesting to see what Amber says. And then we got a scenario. Philippe Babern from Croatia. I love your art, but you apparently smoke a lot when you're painting, and everything is soaked in smoke. So, Amber, we're going to have to see what you think here in a second. And I know your eyes are just like...
There could be heating systems, too.
Do you actually have to smell the smoke to see the level of cigarette smoke to... Okay, but we'll have to go through that in a minute. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and talk to you guys soon.